All right, good afternoon, everybody. We are one short hour away from the beginning of the autumn equinox, and we're so happy that you are continuing along this journey with us today as we introduce now Elizabeth Brackman of All Y'all Yoga, which is allyallyoga.com. She's here in Tampa, and we absolutely love her. And she is my science buddy. She knows that I love all things scientific, and that is where she's diving into. Her topic is Equinox is balance and breath is balance. Love how she puts it together. Let's check it out.
Namaste. Thank you so much for choosing to spend the time here today. I'm so glad that you are here. I'd like to share a quote with you to begin our session today from a book called Breath by James Nestor. This is a long quote, stay with me. Japanese, African, Hawaiian, Native American, Buddhist, Taoist, Christian, these cultures and religions all have somehow developed the same prayer techniques, requiring the same breathing patterns, and they all likely benefited from the same calming effect. In 2001, researchers at the University of Pavia in Italy gathered 24 subjects, covered them with sensors to measure blood flow, heart rate, and nervous system feedback. And they had them recite a Buddhist mantra, as well as the original Latin version of the Rosary, the Catholic prayer cycle of the Ave Maria, which is repeated half by a priest and half by the congregation. They were stunned to find that the average number of breaths for each cycle was almost exactly identical, just a bit quicker than the pace of the Hindu, Taoist, and Native American prayers, 5.5 breaths per minute. But what was even more stunning was what breathing like this did to the subjects. Whenever they followed this slow breathing pattern, blood flow to the brain increased, and the systems in the body entered into a state of coherence. That is when the functions of the heart, circulation, and nervous system are coordinated to peak efficiency. The moment the subjects returned to spontaneous breathing or talking, their heart rates would beat a little more erratically, and the integration of these systems would slowly fall apart. A few more slow and relaxed breaths, and it would return again. So that is again a quote by James Nestor from the book Breath. It was published just last year in 2020. Ironically, a whole book about breath. So now I'd like to switch our focus. I'm going to bring it back to that and talk about the seasons and the balance of the seasons. Happy autumn equinox, everybody. So equa in equinox means equal. And so that means that the day and the night are of the same length. And so what does that mean in terms of the seasons, right? So that means that which is tilted on its axis, and then it's rotating around on that axis. Because we are tilted on the axis, the autumnal equinox means that our direction in relation to the sun is exactly equal. And so the other side of that is the spring equinox. And so on the spring and the autumn equinoxes, the day and night lengths are exactly the same. And then the other part of our seasonal rotations, if you will, are the solstices. And that means, for example, the winter solstice, which is coming up, means that the night is the longest night of the year and the shortest day. And then the summer solstice is exactly the opposite. It's the longest day and the shortest night. And again, that has to do with where we are rotated or leaning on our axis, the planet leaning on its axis and then rotating around on itself and then around the sun, revolving around the sun. And so all of those patterns, there's 4 seasons, right? And there's 2 solstices and 2 equinoxes. And so this creates this beautiful balance of the seasons and the changing of the seasons. So right here on the equinox, the autumnal equinox is a great opportunity for us to talk about this balance of the breath. And that quote that I shared with you is very specifically talking about all of these ancient cultures and traditions and more modern traditions that have brought forth these prayers and mantras and chants creates an equal inhale and an equal exhale. And that equal breathing, 6 seconds in or 5.5, and then 5.5 or 6 seconds out equally balances the inhale and the exhale. And so we've just known this spontaneously inside of our understanding of how the body works. And so science is now showing that this particular breath pattern, an even breath in equal to the breath out, creates balance in the nervous system and in the heart rate. We tend to think of the breath as just the inhale and the exhale. And that's true. We do just breathe in and out. However, in the yogic tradition and in other traditions around the world that have paid attention to the pattern of the breath, they have noted that there are actually 4 parts to the breath, 4 parts. There's the inhale and the pause at the top, and then the exhale, and then the pause at the bottom. Now, maybe those pauses are minuscule and you've got just a continuous loop of inhale and exhale. But mindful breathing means that you can also bring attention to those pauses and create a 4-part breath, right? So that it's not just the inhale and the exhale, but by holding the breath for just a beat at the top or just a beat at the bottom, establishes a control over the breath. And that control is our mind then controlling the breath. Now, the breath can just happen all on its own. But as I was reading in that quote, when we're just breathing spontaneously, not paying attention to it, our central nervous system isn't quite in its balance. And our heart rate goes up, our blood pressure goes up. But when we apply our consciousness to what's happening in the breath by applying those pauses into our breath, and instead of just creating 2 seasons, right? Fall and summer, we can get all 4 seasons happening in the breath. So we can really balance the breath out and create that complete and total balance between the inhale and the exhale. So what does that all mean, and why is it even important? Like, who needs to teach us how to breathe, right? We all just do it automatically, and that's great. That means that something back here in the back brain has got us no matter what else is going on. But as we saw from that quote, when we actually apply consciousness and awareness to our breath, something deeply significant happens in our brains and in our bodies that is deeply nourishing to our bodies and brings that all into balance. There are lots and lots and lots of different breath techniques. So I would like to, as we wrap up our session today, after this little bit of just information, like to put this into practice. So we're going to do 2 breath techniques. So one breath technique, we're just going to do that even inhale and exhale. And then we're going to do box breathing, where we inhale and then pause, and then exhale and pause. So let's begin. So the first one that we're going to do is that just a 6 count breath. So you're going to inhale for a count of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe that pattern doesn't feel great to you. Let's try 5. So inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is just a little taste. So now let me talk about box breath. So Navy SEALs actually use this breath before they go onto an important mission in order to go in focused and calm. But you don't have to be a Navy SEAL to do box breathing. Some people call it 4 square breathing. and other people just call it, diaphragmatic breathing. There's lots of different names for this technique, but it's a count of 4. So you're going to inhale for 4 and then hold your breath at the top for 4. And then you're going to exhale for a count of 4 and then hold the breath at the bottom for a count of 4. So let's give that a try. And if you lose count, it's okay. You can take these techniques with you later. So go ahead and just exhale out all your air. And now inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, inhale, 1, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4. And now just let that go and breathe naturally. So again, the 4-part breath, inhale for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, hold, etc. So those are 2 different breath techniques. And again, this equal balance of either a 5 count or a 6 count breath, simply by bringing your awareness to the breath, whatever technique you have decided works for you, finding the natural rhythm of your breath and then just bringing your conscious mind to it can help you bring in this balance. Now, as we're looking at going ahead from the autumnal season, autumnal equinox, we're now going to start tipping the scales towards more darkness and less light. And so with that, I encourage you to spend as much time in the light side of the daytime and then enjoy the peace and quiet of the evenings, using that time in the evenings to take some of that sun-filled energy from the day and helping that to balance out the nights, especially as the weather gets a little bit colder and a little bit drier. Using that breath technique can help you maintain that balance even as we tip the scales from the balance of the autumnal equinox of equal light and dark, tipping over into towards the winter cycle. You can continue to maintain that same balance simply by bringing your awareness to your breath. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend this time thinking about your breath and learning a little bit more about your breath and the seasons and how to bring that all together for yourself. Peace.
Loved it. Yay science, yay happiness. That was absolutely awesome. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. We really appreciated all of that information. We are next up going into the 3 o'clock hour. For those of you watching live, we're gonna go right into the autumn equinox at 3:20, and Kim McGuire is going to be bringing us into that hour with some grounding yoga. We'll see you guys then.